Okay, what we are doing now is as we enter the final stages of building this collection, we have printed a group of horses. This is meant for, um, well, this picture doesn't do it justice, unfortunately. There was some issues with the trying to get the print to be clean, and it was a difficult thing to do. So the other issue was that in the 3D printing, um, the support was necessary for the horses. Now we have since modified the file so that it prints better. At least that's kind of like what we're seeing here. This is a better version of that. And I should also note that our um, hot exacto blade has failed for reasons unknown, which means that when it comes to removing these supports, they have to be cut. The reason for the existence of the hot knife was to prevent the force necessary to remove these filament supports. And as you can see here, the print itself was faulty, but we have, because it's not going to be very well observed, we are leaving that as is. It would be helpful if we had a better, more accurate knife. I should say snips. And the reason this is dangerous is because what happens here is that it breaks the leg. So we have to be careful and put pressure on the model so that the legs, as you can see, we've had to reinforce the legs with pieces of filament, because the legs were, as the legs meet the base, they're weak. I suppose what could be done here is I could heat up the blade and insulate the blade so I could hold on to it. So this is a better version of the horses. Still, you can see the support inside there in the middle horses, but we don't care because you can't see that. So in the end, we have many horses that we are using for the dismounted cavalry horse holders and so on. It just provides a better look. Now, you might say, well, this is an individual horse. True. And the multiple horses put together is a little more convenient. But the individual horse is easier to clean. And that's kind of important in a sense because it allows us to reprint. For instance, when we have a problem and one of the legs breaks, we need to reprint the horse. Reprinting just one is helpful. And another interesting problem here is that this plastic you can see or say that it is brittle. Cutting with an exacto blade causes, first of all, the size of the blade puts pressure on the structure. And this is what causes the legs and so on to crack. That size of the blade can create a wedge that affects the model. And that's what we're trying to prevent. Sure, we can just keep printing them, and we can use a creme brulee hot flame to get rid of some of these I need to be careful here. See, that just broke the leg. Hence the reason for the couple of things. Hence the reason for, if I can find it, resin infrared activated glue. And I have lost my infrared activated glue. I need to locate my glue. I don't see it. I might use hot glue, but that also is a problem because that melts the where's that glue anyway? What happened to that glue? Where's my infrared glue? Okay, I don't see my infrared glue. Perhaps I've used it all, or it's hiding somewhere else. I don't see it. So I'm going to default and fix that leg with hot glue. And then I'll, anyway, so here's another example. You can see the supports that have to be removed. And in removing them, like I said, you run the risk of breaking those thin legs. That is the characteristic of the model of the horse. Ergo, please, persons out there, when you are designing your models, make the legs thick. Make them thicker, because this is a problem. This breaking the supports too often breaks the model. So yes, the reality is that 3D prints have very strong strands. Again, you will, when this is completed, you won't see these issues. It's possible that I could use the Dremel, which is probably what I'm going to investigate next. Can be done. The leg was fixed, a little bit wonky, but it's again because you won't see that. It's so small. The object is so small that it won't be noticed. But I am going to experiment using the Dremel, so that'll be the next thing. Okay.